afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. Vermont's demographics are shifting. As we've often reported, research shows that by the year 2030, 1 in 4 Vermonters will be over the age of 60. That shift in demographics has significant impacts from health care and Social Security to issues like independent living. Older Americans Month in May represents an opportunity to explore how aging Vermonters can remain as healthy, independent, and engaged as possible for as long as possible. And to start today's discussion on Older Americans Month, I want to welcome Angela Smith-Jang from the Vermont Department of Disabilities, Aging, and Independent Living. Angela serves as the director of the State Unit on Aging. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
What is Older Americans Month?
So each May we celebrate Older Americans Month. It's really an opportunity across the country to celebrate and honor the contributions that older Americans, everyone over the age of 60, brings to our communities, whether it's working or volunteering or engaging in different ways. So it's an opportunity to honor those contributions and celebrate them and continue to ask older Americans to stay active.
What's the theme of Older Americans Month this year?
So this year I'm excited that the theme is engage at every age. So it's really about what does it mean to be older? What does it mean to be a part of a community? What does that look like for each individual? It can be really different, but it's all really important and helps us make Vermont what it is.
Mm-hmm. Can you give me some examples of what you mean by that?
So for some people, engaging really means staying working as long as possible. People really appreciate the opportunity to work and give in that way. For other people, it means volunteering, whether that be through church or a school or a community group. For other people, engaging really is just about being active, taking part in an exercise class or at their local senior center, a computer class or a language class or whatever it might be. For some people, it's the arts. There's so many different ways that people engage. It's really just about that social connection. And I think there's a growing body of research that shows that isolation and loneliness really impact our health. But engagement is the counter to that. It's about connecting with people. And whatever that means for each individual, it could be different. It could just be having family over and connecting with those around you.
But it's continuing just to be part of an active community.
Exactly.
And I think people think, well, I'm retired, so I shouldn't do anything. But that's not necessarily the case. It's really important to stay connected to other people.
Exactly. And most people when they retire, they don't sit at home and do nothing. People do different things, and so it can be anything that that you might particularly enjoy.
Mm-hmm. And so what role does technology play in all of this?
Great question. So no matter your ability or mobility, you should have that opportunity to engage. And so technology can really be helpful because as we age, sometimes it might be hearing loss or it might be more difficult to see. And so there's a lot of great new technologies that can help people, not just hearing aids, but a lot of new things to help people at home stay independent and active and in their community.
Tell me about the Older Americans Act. What are some of the key services provided to older Vermonters?
Right. So Older Americans Month really stems from the Older Americans Act, which was passed by Congress over 50 years ago. And it's the legislation that goes to each state to provide supports and services for older Americans, and in our case, older Vermonters. Probably the most well-known program under the Older Americans Act is Meals on Wheels. People really know that's when you can have a hot meal delivered to your home if you're not able to cook or get out. But there's a whole range of programs under the Older Americans Act, and including transportation support, legal support, health promotion, case management, information and assistance. It's really all kinds of things to help people stay independent and be able to age in place.
And so what is the role of your department in providing these kinds of services?
Right. So the Department of Disabilities, Aging, and Independent Living is our state unit on aging, which oversees the Older Americans Act programs in Vermont. So we work very closely with our 5 area agencies on aging who coordinate those services statewide.
And so how can Vermonters learn about the programs that are available or find support for themselves or maybe even a family member?
Right. So I would say the best place to start is through the area agencies on aging. The statewide number for folks to call is 1-800-642-5119. So that's the best place to start. Or if you're online, go to www.vermont4a.org.
Okay, and the phone number again is 800-642-5119, and the website is there on the screen as well, so folks can get the information they might be interested in looking into. Well, Engage at Every Age is the theme of Older Americans Month, and our next guest is all about staying engaged. I want to welcome Erica Marks. Erica is the Director of Volunteer Services for Age Well, which is part of Vermont's area agencies on aging. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
How many volunteers do you have, and where do they serve?
Okay, so we have 897 volunteers.
Wow.
And they serve in all 4 counties that we service, which is Addison, Franklin, Chittenden, and Grand Isle.
And so what kinds of services do your volunteers provide?
One of the wonderful things about volunteering is that anybody can find their niche. We provide a wide array of services. So our largest program is our Friendly Visitor Program. And those are folks, when Angela was talking about loneliness and isolation, those are folks who go and visit older Vermonters who can't necessarily get out. And they help them with all kinds of things. They help them with grocery shopping and running errands and transportation. Our second largest program is our Meals on Wheels volunteers. We have 405 Meals on Wheels volunteers that help get those meals to everybody in the region that we serve.
Now, obviously, that's important for meal-wise and important to visit folks, but it's also really important because these volunteers often are sort of the first line of defense if they notice something wrong with one of the folks that they're visiting.
Absolutely. We really encourage and support them and make it as easy as possible for them. They know that if they encounter something that they're concerned about, to just pick up the phone and call us, and we will make sure that we get to the bottom of what's going on to be sure that the older Vermonter who is struggling for whatever reason has the resources and support they need to age well in place.
And so how many hours do your volunteers usually give? I mean, a lot of people say, I don't have a lot of time to volunteer, but you don't need a lot of time.
You don't need a lot of time. Our Meals on Wheels program, some people only deliver once a month, and that's an hour and a half. Other people deliver once a week. So, but on average, people give between an hour to 3 hours, depending on what their niche is and what they're interested in.
And so what are some of the unique aspects of your program, and what are the benefits to the volunteers?
Great. Well, one of the unique aspects to our program is that our program is completely built around the volunteers. So really, my goal is to find all of those older Vermonters and younger Vermonters who have time to give, who want to make a difference locally in their community, who want to help their neighbors, who want to help on the local level, and to engage them in our programs. So we really are professional matchmakers. What we want to do is make sure that if you want to volunteer, we find out what your passions are, what you love, what your interests are, and then we match you with someone that shares those same interests so that you are looking forward to and enjoying it. Now, all of my volunteers tell me that they get far more out of it than they give, which is always, I think, a little surprising to people because people volunteer because they want to give something. But the experiences and the relationships that they build are so rich and so meaningful. It brings them joy.
Does it surprise them that, previously this person had been a stranger, and all of a sudden now they're getting to know them?
Yeah, I think that they're not a stranger. After that first initial introduction, they become fast friends.
And so what do you hear from clients who are involved with these folks who volunteer?
Great question. So what I hear from the clients is that I don't know what I would do without Angela. I don't know what I would do without so-and-so. I look forward to her visits every week. She helps me with my meals. She helps get me to the grocery store. He helps me with some minor home repairs. So the clients really feel that it improves their quality of life knowing that they have that volunteer visit to look forward to, and that they can write a little list of all the things that they need help with, and the volunteer will help them with that.
Can I just add too?
Sure.
I think that there is no way that the formal programs that the Older Americans Act provides could meet the needs of all older Vermonters. The volunteers are absolutely critical because there's huge gaps in what we can do, especially around things like transportation and helping people access the grocery store, for example. So that's a huge place where volunteers play a critical role.
Yeah, our volunteers do some other really cool things. We have 42 Tai Chi volunteers that offer free Tai Chi classes in the community. So if all those older Vermonters who are saying, okay, I know it's important to stay active and to stay physically fit, but I don't want to injure myself. Maybe I don't really want to go to a gym. I don't really feel like I fit there, but there are Tai Chi classes that are led by Age Well volunteers that they can participate in.
We should also mention, too, if you're not up to volunteering, you can also donate, which is hugely important to what you do.
Very important to what we do.
Tell me a little bit about that as far as people's donations.
So,
it doesn't have to be a tremendous amount of money either.
No, every little bit helps, whether it's covering the cost of a meal or whether that donation is making it possible for us to continue to offer our services free of charge to the clients. That's the thing. The clients we serve, they're not paying out of their pocket. And we can bring a lot of resources to them to make it possible for them to have the best quality of life. The other thing is that it benefits the volunteers' health as well. The volunteers all across the nation, the studies show that people who volunteer are healthier, they have a greater sense of purpose, the quality of their life improves, and that it's very enriching for them.
If someone watching the show would like to volunteer, what should they do?
Well, the best thing that they can do, because all of the area agencies on aging do have volunteer programs that vary a little bit, is to call the 1-800-642-5119 number.
And Angela, review for our viewers how they can learn about programs in the Department of Disabilities, Aging, and Independent Living.
Right. So again, I would echo the Senior Helpline is the best statewide resource for folks to start with. And then once you call the Senior Helpline, you'll be directed to whatever kind of support you might need. So it's 1-800-642-5119.
And according to research studies, some 90% of older adults say they want to age in place, in their homes, in their communities. How can some of the programs that you are providing help folks do that?
Right, so nutrition is a huge piece of that. So being able to have a meal delivered to your home, or being able to know that you can go out to a senior center and get a meal. Knowing that there's transportation options for you, whether that's public transportation or someone coming to your home and helping you get out. Another role that I think the agencies on aging play, that the Older Americans Act supports, is case management, care management, really helping people figure out what their options are as they're aging, how to be able to stay in place as they age, what they might need at home, whether it's some personal care, some housekeeping support, some nursing support, whatever that might be. The case management departments at each agency on aging really help people navigate that really complex world.
To make sure that they get the services that they're going to need.
Exactly, exactly. And because it varies from person to person, so it really needs to be a process where you're looking at that individual, what are your goals, what are your needs, and helping you figure out, connect you to the right supports at the right time.
And once again, maybe you could give the phone number of where folks should call, even family members if they're concerned about an older family member getting what they need to stay where they are.
Right, and family caregivers. There are a lot of families that are trying to figure this out on their own.
It's hard.
There's a lot of support out there for them as well. So 1-800-642-5119.
Well, I want to thank you both for joining us today. It's a great programs that you're providing for folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. I'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.